everyone, this is Georgia from Georgia's Crafty Creations, and today we're going to be making a simple card just so it's one that everybody can do whether you have a die cut machine or not. If you have a die cut machine, you can put the measurements in and die cut it, or you can cut it with just a paper trimmer, which is how I cut my pieces. Now this is a sympathy card and I made it large. It's a 5x7 card, and the reason I did that, the sentiment I used is from a group, and that way it gives you plenty of room for everybody to sign into it. So let's get started with this card. And the paper I used for this card is from Melody Lane Designs, the Skylar set, which I'll put a link down below for that. I used a light color and dark color from the Skylar set. Now from the light color, you'll need to print 2 sheets of this. I did 8.5 by 11 sheets. From the dark color, you will need 3 sheets of it. So the pieces I cut were, from the dark paper, we cut a 5x7, we cut a 4 1/4 inch by 6 1/4 inch, we cut a 2 3/4 inch by 2 1/2 inch, and we cut an optional 1 1/4 inch by 6 inch, which I'll show you why I cut that later. Now from the light paper, we cut a sheet of 4 3/4 inches by 6 3/4 inches. We cut a piece 4 by 6 inches. And we also cut a piece 2 1/2 inches by 2 3/8 inch, which I already stamped my sentiment, and it says, "Our caring thoughts are with you during this difficult time." This was using a Hero Art stamp, but I went ahead and stamped it to have it ready. And then the last piece that I did, I have a die from Tonic Studios. It's just a decorative die, and I cut 1 piece on that. But what I did before I cut it out was I put Stick It on the back of it, which is from Ken Oliver. This works really good on intricate pieces. If you're going to cut it out, it has it so you don't have to put glue all over it. So I have that piece. Now, for our base of our card, I cut a piece 7 by 10 inches, and I scored it at the 5-inch mark. And I'm going to go ahead and do my score with that. But the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to open my card out. I'm going to take my 5x7 of my dark color, and I'm going to put some double-sided tape adhesive on the back of it. And then how I like to line mine up is I like to go from my corners just so it's lined up good with the edge. Get that lined up, and that way it doesn't overlap. There we go. Once you get that piece on, you can go ahead and fold your card because you're ready to get going on it. Now the next piece that's going to go on is your 4 3/4 by 6 3/4 light colored piece. So I'm going to go ahead and put my double-sided tape on that piece. I tend to use a lot of adhesive because I like for things to stick where I want them to stick. And then we're going to go ahead and get this one put on. And that's going to be our card base, and I'm going to set this piece aside for a minute because we're going to work on our next layer. So I'm going to take my piece that is the dark piece. It's 4 1/4 inches by 6 1/4 inches, and then the light piece is 4 by 6, and we're going to put it on top of that layer. So go ahead and put some double-sided tape on this piece. Get that where we want it. And here's where your options come in. For me, I'm going to be using this decorative piece. But a couple other options you could use is the piece of dark that I cut at 1 1/4 inches by 6 inches. You could put that on. Or another option is you could take a piece of ribbon and put the ribbon on and fold it around, which is nice too. So we're going to go ahead and put our decorative piece on. It's good to get your stick-it started up before you start. That way it's all ready to go when you get to it. This way you have no residue or anything, and it makes it so easy with intricate designs using this stick-it. And then you just want to place this on your card straight as possible and smooth that down. And I turn my piece there. And then the next thing you're going to do, you're going to take your piece of dark that's 2 3/4 by 2.5 inches, and you're going to put your sentiment onto it. And get some glue on that one. And then what you're going to do with your sentiment is, I like my sentiment to be raised up, so I'm going to use some foam squares on the back of my sentiment. I like this card just because it's so simple and quick to make. And sometimes you need a sympathy card in a hurry. Now I use the Hero Art stamp on this, but I have a couple other sympathy stamps that would have worked. I have a stamp from My Sentiments Exactly, which is all different sympathy stamps. But if you want to turn this card into something else, birthday, anniversary, you could bling it up a little more. I like to keep it simple with this. So we're going to place our sentiment where we want it, press down on it, and then we're going to adhere it to our base. For this one, I'm going to stand it up also, but we're going to use foam tape for this just so we can get better coverage and better sticky to it to attach to the base of the card. Gives you much better coverage. And I think I'll put one down the middle too. I like things to stay put where I want them to stay put. So we're going to bring our card base over. And make sure I have that right. And we're going to just place our top onto our card. Now if you want, you could add some embellishment, jewels, whatever you would like. I just like this one a little more plain. And then for the inside, since I made this to come for a group, I always do something with my inside, but I cut a piece of copy paper. Now this is cut at 9 3/4 inches by 6 3/4, and I didn't score it or anything. I'm just going to eyeball it and fold it over. Get it where I want it. And to place this in my card, what I always do is I will open up my card. I'll get this blade where I want it to be in my card. Make sure it's not covering the fold. And then I'll just do a little bit of tape either down the card or down the piece of paper. One little strip is all I do. And then I'll fold it over, smooth it down, and then I'll flip the card over and do the same thing on the other side. Just put a little bit of adhesive, and then that gives you a couple extra pages if you have a large group, or you could stamp a sentiment on the inside if you'd like. But that's how we did it. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, like below. Remember, these are Melody Lane papers. It is the Skylar set. Her papers are wonderful for all sorts of different projects. So I hope you like the project. Have a great day, everybody. Until next time, bye.